Geoff Strauss. You
Yes.
want to take it away?
Good morning.
Take it away. If everybody else could go on mute, actually, because I'm going to put it in speaker mode. So Geoff, you can take it away.
Okay. Anything in particular you want me to talk about, or just
our regular intro, what you're up to, kind of work you do. Not everybody here knows you.
Okay.
And how you can help others, what you're looking for, if anything in particular.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, it's interesting. I'm in this 90-day challenge program, which has a combination of business aspects and health and physical aspects and mental health aspects. Really, really well-rounded program. And so every day I'm doing 45 minutes on the treadmill, and I'm watching 45 minutes of business or wellness podcast material while I'm on the treadmill. And so this morning I was watching a podcast about pitching and how to pitch yourself better. And so actually this is going to be the first time I'm trying out a new pitch that I developed while I was on the treadmill this morning. So what I do is I help businesses to tell the stories they need to be telling to grow. And the way I do that is with written and video case studies that are customer centric. So we will help your business grow by helping you talk about how you've helped people succeed and doing it using their own words. We'll interact with them and get their experience in working with you, and then give you something you can use in your marketing. So you're not just out there telling people that you need to believe us, we're the greatest things since sliced bread. You can actually hand them a piece of social proof that says, don't believe us, here's the proof. This is why you can trust us. And that's what we do.
And the name of the company is Just Case Studies, correct?
That is correct.
That's pretty cool.
So it's right in the name. And Geoff, you're based in Chicago?
That's right.
Chicagoland. Wonderful. All right. So Keith did just join. Keith, we started without you, but you're scheduled to do the showcase today. Are you set for that? Are you on mute? Hold on. Let's see if he's still in.
I'm here.
You are? Okay.
My computer crashed this morning and I'm trying to rebuild my browser setup. So I can talk about roundtables. Have we finished with the introductions?
No, we just did one. We were waiting for you, but we decided to start.
Yeah.
But if you want to take it away.
Why don't we do the introductions and let me just get set up? I literally had to restart my computer, and my browser logged in as a different person. So my tabs don't even have my logins correct.
No problem. Take your time.
It's a disaster, but I will pull a rabbit out of a hat if we go around and do the introductions first.
All right. The next would be Ron Hubsher then. Ron, take it away.
Okay, by the way, thanks for everybody. So has anybody ever woken up in the middle of the night really sweating and really disturbed from your sleep? Because there's a deal you wanted to win and the customer or the client was pushing you hard for discounts, and you sort of felt like you were getting taken advantage of, but you didn't want to lose a deal and you didn't know what you should do. Well, we make sure that never happens to you again. I run a company called the Sales Optimization Group, and we help companies negotiate and close deals much more effectively. So you can command price premiums, make sure your client feels really great, and sleep soundly at night.
Give us some examples of some stuff you've done to save people the headache and the anxiety.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And by the way, we do this for large corporations as well as individuals. Anyone's welcome. By the way, I have a book, Closing Time. It's only 85 pages. I don't know if anybody still reads, but you can download a complimentary copy. By the way, show of hands, how many people would read an 85-page book, just out of curiosity?
Maybe.
Okay, you guys are probably the exception. I hand out literally hundreds of these books and none of them get read. And 10 years ago, you'd hand out, 10 and 7 or 8 would get read.
So I have a similar experience. My book is like 90 plus pages. Nobody reads it, but they skim it.
Yeah.
And the credibility factor is still there.
Yeah. I look at this as a $3 business card. And what I've done is just said, read one chapter. And a chapter is about 4 pages or 5 pages. So I think I can get people to read it. It took me a few years to figure that out. So I'm not exactly the brightest guy. Like I'd hand about no one would read it. It's like, just read chapter 4. It's really good. So for whatever that's worth. But we have a really simple 7-step process for negotiating and closing deals that I think probably be really appropriate for everyone. Who here has pricing flexibility, or who here gets pushed for pricing? Yeah, so if you read the book, or if you want any help, feel free to reach out to me. I have a simple 7-step process. How much time do I have, Michael? Because I can go on forever, but I want to.
What you have about a minute if you want to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, so I'll tell you law 1, which is the biggest law. There's 2 things. You have to be the buyer's #1 choice, right? And we always talk about companies don't buy price, companies buy risk. And if in your sales process you can show you the least risky solution, then you've earned the right to command a price premium. And what I would encourage anybody to do, if they give you pushback on pricing, say, hey, if price was an issue, would be your #1 choice? And then ask why. So when you hear yes to the first question and why, you know exactly why to command the price premium. So that's something I think everyone can take away and use.
You got a nice quote there, or Krista said that's so perfectly quotable. It
Perfect.
is. All right.
Let me know if you try it. Just let me know your success stories if that works for you.
Very cool. All right. Who's up next? Let's see. We had Lynn Donaldson.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lynn Donaldson from Connect A Strategic Solutions Group, and I'm actually moved from New Jersey to Atlanta. I'm still in the process of moving, but I'm in Atlanta at the moment. And Ron, I could have used your expertise in negotiation for this house. It's been a nightmare. May still come back to you. But who in the morning reaches for their tablets that they've got to take, their blood pressure tablets, their cholesterol tablets, whatever tablets you have to take? Who reaches for tablets first thing in the morning or last thing at night? Yeah. So those tablets, and if you've got a device, a medical device, a blood pressure monitor, a cholesterol monitor, or a sugar monitor for diabetes, I help those companies bring those products to market. We help them launch the product effectively, and we usually work with them 3 to 4 years prior to launch, because you cannot sell a product until the FDA has approved it. But you can talk about the therapeutic area, you can talk about how it works, you can talk about what it does without actually selling it. So I work with those people, the medical directors, who can actually talk peer-to-peer, doctor to doctor, to actually pre-sell their product, as it were, by talking about it, presenting clinical data, presenting publications, or books like Ron's. And I help companies work on their strategy. So we help them develop their team, then we work on their strategy, then we help them implement that strategy. And one of the extra kind of things that differentiates us is, A, we're not McKinsey, we don't dump and run. McKinsey are well renowned for going into a company and giving you this presentation that is basically your work, reworked and thrown back at you and said, that's your strategy. We don't do that. We go in and we actually work closely with the team and help them develop that strategy. But launching a product is actually very stressful. So I also work with the team that are doing the product launch, not only to make sure they've got the right team members, but also to give them executive coaching to keep them at the highest peak performance while they're doing it. The Pareto rule can be quoted in multiple ways, but 80% of success is down to your mindset and 20% is down to your skills. So what I do is I keep the team at a peak performance level, keep their mindset high, so that if something happens, they can cope with it. Then we work with them on the strategy, and within that we put contingency in the strategy. We do scenario planning, the what ifs, if this happens, if that happens. And we had an example recently where the product didn't get FDA approval straight away, but we'd done the scenario planning. So all we did was pick that strategy up and run with it till the approval came in. And then we helped them implement to that strategy. But as you know, also Rajiv and I have a software that helps them with that strategic planning. Am I out of time, Michael?
Yes, you are. But so if anybody knows anybody in pharma or medical devices who might be launching a product, Lynn is the right person to speak to.
Can I ask one quick question? Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
What is the economic buyer you sell to? Is it medical education, or what sort of who would you target?
It's medical affairs professionals. So the medical doctors within pharma and medical devices.
What title would that be?
medical affairs director or medical affairs VP.
Medical affairs director. I didn't hear the director part. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to be quick and conscious of the time. Sorry, Michael.
No problem. John Parsons.
Thanks, Michael. I build business cards that cost $24.95. I'm a ghostwriter. I do business, nonfiction, technical, business process, some inspirational, borderline, like people who are encouraging people, business coaches, and then just very practical books about one in particular. I just finished a book on AI, for AI for the layman, so to speak, and a book on virtual events. You know, doing this on a large scale. There's a company I work for that does virtual and hybrid meetings, and I wrote his first book, and I'm writing a second soon. And then as far as how many people actually would read a book, I'm acutely aware of that. So after my 2018 book, we worked. My company also got into video to produce interactive experience with books, but not losing the value of the print book. So I wrote a textbook on the subject, and we're about to release a newer interactive version of one of the chapters, which is a platformless interactivity, if that explains it. Interactivity usually depends on the platform you're bound to, hosting the buttons and the choices and the branching and the things that you can do interactively. We've discovered a way to create that interactivity in video without having to subscribe to a $400 a month platform. So that's, I wear both the writer hat and the, if you can't tell, the VP of sales for the video side.
So I think I have a question for you.
Sure.
You know, with the reading that I do, a lot of it I do on my phone, because I always have it with me. And if I've got,
Right.
you know, on the subway or something, I've got another, 15, 20 minutes to read a little bit more. How does that change your writing, or if
A lot? Well, it's interesting because when you write for interactivity, when you know that there's going to be an active component, it's like an alley-oop pass in basketball. You're passing to nothing and waiting for knowing that event is going to be possible for the user to choose. So it changes how you build the narrative, because it's not all in the subtext or it makes you, it requires you to be more agile as a writer, because you can't make the assumption that it's linear. And as far as reading on a phone goes, my book is a print layout. It has 2 columns per page, bad example, but it's hard to read on a phone because you shrink it down. So the platform we use has the ability to create a pop-up of the text of that page in a scrolled form, so you can read that without the illustrations probably. But if you are reading it on a phone, we don't want to limit your ability, because we couldn't afford to totally redo the format of the book, make it responsive. So we're trying to get the best of both worlds. But yeah, exactly. But phone reading is transient. You forget more quickly when you read something on a phone than when you read it on a piece of paper. That is actual science.
Interesting. Thank you.
Anyway, and end of sermon.
Yeah, Rajiv, you're up. Rajiv, you may be on mute. Are you there? Let's see if he's still around.
He said, "Be right back." I think it.
On the text.
Okay. He said to be right back. Okay, so we will go to Marko.
Hi guys. Hi Michael. Nice to see you again. I live right now between Croatia and Holland. Owner of full service consulting agency. We focus on a B2B niche where we help especially agency businesses or startups who raised 1 million plus in investments with sustainable business growth. Couple of things which my clients know me for. There is a punchline: connector by day, mind reader by night, meaning that I see everything in connections, and like when you need to negotiate a deal or something, I have maybe ability to verbalize invisible things which people maybe don't want to say, but they think it. In practice, what we do, we just use, I would say, my skills. We organize through a neuroscience methodology we have, and then we apply it through LinkedIn and CRM tools, meaning that if you got the copy-paste messages on LinkedIn or email, people asking you for time, we do the opposite. So our punchline whenever we connect with somebody is personalized approach, personalized video, where we go through your LinkedIn profile or company website and just outlining what we see are unique things for you, what needs you have and what things you need to implement alone to improve it. And that show to be a good way, because then people know that we don't sell anything, but we are here to make connections, and people who resonate with that will work with us. Who do not resonate, at least they will have a different taste of what is out there. Type of connections I'm searching for: owners of agency businesses between 11 to 60 employees, or any tech startups. Also, if you need any connection after the call or catching up, I'm open to that and seeing how I can connect you with people I know to support your growth business or whatever milestone you have right now. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Marko and I met, I think, through a lunch club.
It was some Slack community, serial
Slack
marketers or online
serial
geniuses,
marketers.
something like that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's interesting that we're so close right now geographically. I'm in Split and he's in Zagreb. Zagreb's the capital of Croatia, and Split is on the coast, probably, I don't know, 100 miles away or something, or less. Something like that. You're on mute. Doesn't matter. Okay. Let's see. Who did we skip? Rajiv, are you back? No answer. Mark Herre.
Hey, I'm over here. Is it possible to share the screen?
Sure. Hold on.
All right. I'm Mark Herre from a company that I started out of college. And thank you, Michael. And out of college, I started a company called SEO Gain. I've done 2 really big pivots. I do search engine optimization for customers who have websites. So I help them in a 30-day trial, and I call that performance-based SEO. No rank, no pay. And all the other digital marketers I found when I announced that around 17 years ago hated me. So I've been an outsider. I've been an outsider ever since, but I don't care because I want to be the best at my trade. And hey, I just wanted to share my screen for a second. I do something really interesting. I do 30-day trials on websites, but before we even do a trial, I have to kind of provide a keyword audit for people. And so if you ever go to SEOgame.com, you can click your top keyword in your website and I'll provide a keyword audit. But people always ask me, how do you get ranking so fast in 30 days? How does that work? And when I'm talking to usually someone on Zoom, I just log them into my dashboard in a tool called Agency Analytics, where I keep track of the 900 plus websites that I'm managing. And I just show them. Well, yeah. 2 days ago, I did these screenshots out of there. 2 days ago, I added four websites, and I've added 2 more since. This was October 10. And then my other agencies added some. And so not much results happen when you first add, a website. You can't get a ranking in a day, but these numbers on the right are green and red. Green means good, red means bad. Red means rankings are going down, green means rankings are going up for these websites that I have jurisdiction and work and stewardship over. So in September, not much change, but they start improving. And then all the way down to, oh, look, now big greens are going up. And in early September, now they all are ranking. And these are just websites that started with my services in the last 30 days. So the clients don't pay until all the rankings are number 1. And I just like to share that screenshot with you guys and let you know that if you dumped me, if you gave me 50 websites to start today, I could get rankings on in 30 days. So I have a scalable model that does that. And I look forward to doing my presentation in 2 weeks and go over the details, a little bit of the, how do you rank websites so quickly? And I'm going to share all the details, dirty little secrets. Okay, that's all I have to say.
And Mark, maybe you'll tell us also, I understand that the ranking algorithms just recently changed at Google.
It did. Everything's changing all the time. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And who did we leave off? Rajiv, are you back yet?
Yep. Yeah, I'm back.
Go for it.
Awesome. So people ask me, Rajiv, how can you sleep at night doing what you do? You delete scandal and bad reviews from Google. I said, well, I sleep great. I'm actually a side sleeper. But let me tell you something that you may not know. 50%, 50, okay? 50% of all bad reviews that you see are the person posting to the wrong business. The customer is in a highly triggered state and they're all flustered and they just take out their phone and post a review to the first thing that they see. And 50% of the time, it's the wrong business. That's 50%. 25% of bad reviews that you see are posted by douchebag competitors. Yes, 25% are posted by douchebag competitors. So what is that left with? It means that basically 75% of bad reviews posted out there are false or cannot be trusted or are largely unreliable. So what that means is 25% of the bad reviews that you see potentially are factual. And that also can be attributed to the fact that, hey, you can't make everyone happy. You know, that's just how it is. And why do I do what I do? Well, for one reason, because of all that, 75% of bad reviews are just completely false and fictitious. And they are making your lives hard because of all this junk and muck and confusion that this fakeness creates. And the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is so that businesses like you can be seen in the way in which you want it to be seen, which is the right way. And the right way is where they're seeing you and they're seeing your actual customer saying good things or real things about you. Feedback is always good. I always tell people, even if you have a bad review, if you're responding to the review by showing that you're trying to work with the person in a reasonable way, that will offset a lot of the sort of negative energy, so to speak, because the onlooker can see that you're trying to make it right within reason, of course. And if the person still says like they don't want to work with you, so be it. But at least, you know, the onlooker can see the other side too. Anyway, so that's my little nugget or tip for how to deal with bad reviews and also why I delete bad reviews. We have a success guarantee. So if the outcome is not realized, you get your money back. It's super simple. And I'm looking for agency partners who white label me or refer business to me for a revenue share.
Very cool.
John, you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick one. We have my thing off mute. Do sites like Trustpilot share the same problem? Because I use them whenever I'm in some kind of conflict. I usually go to Trustpilot or something like it, or sometimes Better Business Bureau, but they're usually slow at highlighting bad service. Is that the same problem on Trustpilot?
Basically, yeah, because any platform that accepts a review can accept a fictitious review as well.
Okay.
You know, that's just unfortunately how it is. And unfortunately or fortunately, because that's kind of like my business model, right? So because of the reality of that existing, that's the reason why one part of my service exists. So yeah, if there's like a fake review posted on Trustpilot, we can get that deleted.
How much of your work is now review management or deletion or fixing versus reputation with SEO?
Yeah, so the reputation is about like 85 to 90%, and the reviews are like maybe 5 to 10%.
Okay. Are you looking to build the review work? Because it sounds, I mean, you talked about it today.
Yeah, because most people, I'm finding more success on the reputation side because the high net worth individuals that I'm working with have the most to lose with the scandal that is out there, because that's hurting their ability to do business. And that's why they care the most about getting that junk deleted, because it's making life a little bit hard for their families, for their kids on the playground are getting awkward looks and glances and all that, and receiving scorn from other kids, because now when anything is on Google and everyone is Googling everyone, that's just become a common habit these days. Even kids, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids are doing the same thing, and they're like, oh, guess what your dad did or something, and that would just become like a really strange and weird conversation to have. And you know how kids are. Kids can be so mean,
Yeah, I know.
they can be so
Absolutely.
cruel.
All right, let's move on. Krista Giannak, you're up.
All right, it's interesting that I'm going after Rajiv, because when Rajiv discovered that 75% of reviews are really fictitious, negative reviews, makes me wonder how many positive reviews are true. That leads right into a question that I am asking people these days: who trusts you and why? It can be a thought-provoking question, because we need to look at what we're putting out there and whether we're putting content that leads people to trust us and is authentic and shares the wisdom that we have and the knowledge behind the wisdom and knowledge that we have, and the stories behind all of that knowledge and wisdom. I'm Krista Giannak, credibility boosting ghostwriter and blogger for innovative thought leaders. When I work with other marketers, I'm really focused on bringing out the subtleties in your clients. How are they different? What pivotal moments or points on their journey have they gone through? What have they learned that brings them to this point? And I'm not necessarily talking about bearing your soul. I'm talking about sharing from a position of strength, just as I've learned to do. I used to shy away from my personal journey, whereas now I embrace it and I speak about it. People find it inspiring that I faced fear and overcame challenge to become a business owner, networker, and by the way, skier who just happens to be blind. People also find that kind of behind the scenes stuff fascinating or inspiring. The idea that I had to learn to integrate my personal story with my business, just as when I'm writing for clients, whether I'm doing their websites, their books, or their blogs, I am also helping them to integrate their stories. Because I'm also a speaker, that's why I posted earlier, if you look in the beginning of the chat, about that fantastic event. Because I like to have some fun, my creative side as well, and I'm telling a different sort of story, a spooky story at that event on Monday with a Toastmasters twist. Krista Giannak, wise words that matter.
Thank you very much. And for those people who came a little bit late, Krista posted in the chat the link to the registration for that event, which is happening, I think 7 p.m. Eastern, did you say, on Monday? Wonderful. Well,
Yes,
the link is,
7 p.m.
yeah.
Eastern.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, I didn't miss anybody, right? I will, after I go, Keith will do his presentation, but I haven't missed anybody. Okay, we'll put the timer on for myself. So my name is Michael Bendit. Besides running the Trusted Referral Network, of which you are all participating right now, I have a business called Software Development Resources. And what's unusual about the way I approach my business, which is providing software development resources, mostly for marketing and startups, is that I don't do any programming myself. I represent about a dozen teams. So I do sales representation for about a dozen teams. And I'm essentially a matchmaker, finding the right team for the particular job. I just got a call or an email this morning from a member of the Trusted Referral Network, Christina Hagopian, who's also a designer. She has a prospective client who is rebuilding or building a Shopify site to sell handbags online. And Christina's a really talented designer. And so I know, and she's not cheap, but she's worth every penny of it. So I know if she's bidding on the job, that the client is not likely to skimp on, is not going to be too price sensitive. But I did ask her, I said, I have two teams that can do Shopify. One of them starts at about 7,000 for a basic Shopify site. And that's a dual shore team. So most of their developers are in Central America. They do great work. And the other team is a domestic team, and they start at about $20,000. So, and I do sell a lot of their work. It depends on what the client's looking for. And if it's very complicated, also that domestic team has the chops to do very sophisticated integrations, et cetera. So my job is to know my teams well, and to understand what the client is facing and what their challenges are and what their budgets are before I match them with a team. So, people come to me when they're not really sure where to go to for the right development team. I do a lot of partnering with agencies and designers who don't necessarily have the technical skills in-house to do that work themselves, or even if they've got a programmer or two on staff.
Did Michael go off the grid, or am I off the grid?
Oh,
No, I think his video stalled.
okay, my video stalled. I'm going to actually.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
You're
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Now we can.
Oh, but you're muted. Michael, you're muted.
Sorry, I meant to shut off
See
my
you
video.
now and hear you.
All right. I'm going to shut my video off so that because my bandwidth is not great. I only have a few seconds left. So best leads for me really are of two types. One is small agencies and designers who don't always have, as I said, the resources in-house. And even if they do, they sometimes need that extra help. Or they need a skill set they don't have in-house. And so they reach out to me and say, Michael, do you have a team that does X, Y, Z? And I'm happy to help them. Love to speak to people. Love to have more people, experience this group as well. So if you know of folks who are in the marketing world, have a small agency, or independent consultants, or marketers, please invite them. I know Rajiv, we've gotten a number of people from you. Thank you so much for that. Everybody, if you like what you see at this meeting, and you think it could be of help to other people who in the marketing world, please introduce them to me or invite them as a guest. And I think I put the guest link in all of my weekly emails, and even I think it's in the invite. Okay, let's hand it over to Keith Reynolds, who's going to do the presentation, and we have 15 minutes. So Keith, take it away. You're on mute.
I am here. All right. Thank you very much for the introduction, Michael, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about roundtables. I've been doing a lot over the last year, and as you do a startup, you sort of anything for a buck Inc. And the core has been what I provide is fractional chief marketing officer services. This past 18 months or so, we've taken on a lot of projects, but we've been evolving to a retainer basis. Also, per meeting, I do per meeting consultations for coaching. And one of the areas that have really developed a lot of expertise this past year is in podcasting and roundtable events. And I wanted to share that experience with you today, and at the end, invite you to a roundtable. And so this group has been really helpful to me in terms of building my network, sourcing both leads and resources. And so I appreciate this group and really am excited to share this with you. So I'm going to share my screen. And over the last 25 years, I've been writing and producing websites, and they evolved from who we are, what we do, buy my stuff, and a links page and a contact us page in the 90s to fully branded content hubs that provide an experience and resources to your customers and almost appear as if they were produced by a media company. The difference is, instead of selling advertising, you're building a media experience for customers, and you're justifying it on a business level on the value of a lead. And so to set that system up, there's a lot of moving parts, but you can do that. And about 6 years ago, I started public speaking about that, and I had developed a 7, I call them buckets. Maybe on this slide, it's better to call them light bulbs. But if you work through your marketing and content strategy along these 7 vectors, you'll have something that enables you to empower and train your team, because marketing is a team sport. You'll be able to get a team all stroking their oars in the same direction, and so the North Star idea, an editorial strategy to support that North Star idea, publishing, promotion, and distribution to put that content out into the marketplace, community events, because even today in our digital world, for many businesses, 70 to 90% of their leads come from prospecting and referrals. And so you must have a strong community, like what Michael does with the Trusted Referral Network here. Marketing automation, on the back end, how do you manage this so that you get success? A sales model so that you can train your salespeople to handle inbound leads, to participate in events and drive people that they meet to the content and make that part of the sales experience. Sales is not separate from your content. And then lastly, an ROI model so that you can go talk to the CEO and CFO of your business to justify and do the planning and forecasting that you'll get results from your marketing efforts. And if you do those 7 things, you'll be running a successful marketing operation. And after I was doing public speaking about this, thank you, Zoom, I wrote a book, and had this great idea that I'd start doing some traveling and public speaking. And I had a full-time job at the time, and we published it several months before the pandemic. And so instead of traveling and public speaking, I started sitting on Zoom calls, and the company I worked for also laid me off, and basically they became my first client. And I've worked for them for 3.5 years, building out Publio. But that book published, and it's just under 100 pages. I think we've gone through all the reasons to do it, but it provides a North Star. This book is entitled The New Content Culture. And I wrote it with the idea of download my ebook kind of mentality. What I've learned is that roundtables are conversation, and with all of the world's population sitting on tools like Zoom, conversation's the new content. And as we just, this was a perfect introduction. Nobody reads your book, but the credibility and what people want to hear you talk about is still there. And that's why roundtables are such a great medium today. And with tools like Zoom and interactive content, you can really create an experience that people get a lot of value from without reading your book. And yet writing your book is still, I think, an effort worth undertaking, in my experience. So as we came out of the pandemic early this year, I went out on a road trip, and I've traveled about 15,000 miles. I've been to 11 states. I've slept on friends and family's couches. I've been just having it's been great after being locked up in an apartment in Stamford, Connecticut for several years. I've maintained my residence and my business, my team and I have adopted a remote first. We run our business out of Asana and out of our CRM. We have a weekly strategy meeting, and then we use Discord and Slack and Skype as our clients determine. But we use all of those channels then for real-time communication, and it works. So very quickly, let me dive into what is a roundtable. It's a discussion around a single topic, and you have to get peers who share an affinity for this topic and are wanting to learn, wanting to improve. But it's also beyond content. It's a networking opportunity. And, somebody made mention of Trusted Referral Network. I've gotten a lot of value out of it. In this case, we're talking about ourselves and we're helping ourselves network. Others have more of a content focus, but you still have the networking. In all cases, no matter how you organize it, it's still a lead generation strategy, and it works. The fundamental principles are that you have to have a bond of trust. Every one of us on this call has spoken to somebody else on this call, right? Michael, you've done a tremendous job at getting people to get together. Everybody has to approach it with positive intent. We have some connection as peers. We all want to learn and improve, and we genuinely want to help each other. And that is a human characteristic that can be leveraged, and roundtables are a great opportunity to do that. Before you send out an invite, you really have to think that through. What is the overall process? How am I going to do this? What are the outcomes I want to achieve? And so you got to have a plan and a framework. And the one thing I'll share that I work as a CMO to do is to set up a closed loop environment for marketing. So we call this the spaghetti chart. It's out of the mind of Keith. About 10, 12 years ago, I was trying to explain to somebody how social media works. But essentially, if you do all the traditional marketing development, you end up with a business strategy. You use market research and SEO, and you really understand your marketplace. You identify your ideal customer profile. You know how to get a list and access to them. So you start doing things here in this second column, like social media, advertising, PR. You get backlinks. You do events and public speaking and networking. All of that stuff has one purpose, and that's to call attention to yourself. And when you do, you want to bring people back to a content hub. You want to give them value, because the first thing they do when they meet you is research you. So you have to kind of, as Krista pointed out, and Rajiv, you really have to plan that experience for them. And so if you do a good job in creating that cookie trail, you want to encourage them to reach out to you, right? It's all about inbound. People don't want to be sold. They want to come in and meet you. So now you've created a closed loop environment that has landing pages, thank you pages, your customer database. You can do email marketing and remarketing. You can target ads now with first party data. And all of this is about making offers and making yourself available. And when people are ready to buy, if they trust you and they remember you, they'll reach out to you. And now what I've been describing is marketing automation to support marketing. You may get a sale. The likelihood is if you're B2B, you'll get a lead. And out of that, you want to have your CRM directly connected into the Roundtable invitation system, so that those leads then can pop in and you organize them in a flow or process or along the customer journey. That's, what is that person? Is it a 1, 2, or 3 opportunity? Budget, authority, need, and timing. Or is that prospect qualified? I'm probing, building a relationship. Then I establish an offer and propose a deal, and then I listen and negotiate. And if you handle all of your qualified leads in a unified manner in your CRM, you increase the ability to succeed. And if whether it's a closed win or a closed loss, you have data that informs your strategy. So that's the idea of having a closed loop marketing system. And roundtables will succeed better if you can think about your marketing environment that way.
We have about 4 minutes left. Do you want to take questions, or do you want?
I will.
do you want to pause for questions.
I will. No, I'll pause here. I'll just say this is I'm not going to go into the details, but this is a versus B ROI model where we can look at purchasing lists to have people attend your roundtable. We're getting about out of every 5,000 email sends, 20 people attend, and you get 5 sales calls out of it. And so as a business model, if we look at what a lead is worth to you and what a sale is worth to you, we can actually model out what your roundtables can generate for you before the first one is done. And the last thing I'll do is invite you to see a roundtable. We've had a very lucky instance. A person I know developed an event platform called Incaptive, and we've used the book that I wrote as the basis for a series, the North Star, the content strategy, marketing your event, community, virtual versus hybrid event technology, taking the stress out of sales from your event, and your ROI model, which will feature our good friend Michael Bendit. And I can't think of any marketer better to talk about ROI than Michael. So that's sort of my pitch. I'm happy to take questions, but that's our approach to roundtables in this world where reading a book is no longer the idea behind content marketing.
So who are your best? Can you give us some examples of some clients that have really benefited from this?
Certainly. So I have worked for 3.5 years as CMO of a software company that has a portfolio management system. We implemented this, and they have developed a consistent way to handle their leads and gotten their message out. Their North Star was the agility economy. So it was a hook to get people to understand. We've been generating leads with Incaptive, and we're sort of filling the CMO role with them. I'm also doing strategy with a HubSpot agency that services larger companies, and they have a system they call the Growth Catalyst Framework, where basically to do all of this, you have to flood the market with content, and they do this at scale for companies with 500 million to $2 billion in revenue. So those are the kinds of opportunities I'm looking for, and the people I'm trying to help. A smaller business that needs a fractional CMO, or somebody that might want to work with a HubSpot agency for larger opportunities.
Very cool. Other questions?
I have a question for Keith real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Mark.
You said HubSpot. Are you working with Dan Tyre, the former founder and still active major partner at HubSpot over in Arizona? I can probably make a good introduction.
That would be much appreciated. I worked for a HubSpot Gold agency for 5 years, and that's where I came up with the idea for my book. So that would be wonderful.
One last question. If I were to write a book called Dirty Little Secrets, What Your SEO Partners Forget to Tell You About, which I did a mastermind class yesterday on that topic.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of book authors and ghostwriters in that group. How could you help a guy like me get a book like that written in 30 pages or so, because people just want to skim the ideas and then do master classes? Is that something that would be fun?
I think you have a really good idea there. I'd be glad to help. I think keeping it to 30 pages is totally rational. The free book you can download on our website, it's like 30 or 40 pages, and it's basically a regurgitation of my 100-page book. And then building a little marketing plan with workshops around that, I think would be a really good offering given what you sell.
I'd be the only one with a book like that. So I just put my information in the chat if anyone wants to see the presentation. I'm really serious about this. I'd like to hire you.
Cool. That's what this is all about, networking, and also finding out how we can help each other. It is the top of the hour. Great to have everybody join. If now would be a great time. John, you have a question? You're on mute.
Yep. Keith, I just ordered your book on Amazon, and we need to have a conversation because your Amazon page is fine, but and I'm not looking for the work to do it, but Amazon's done a new thing for resellers to add videos to their book pages.
Oh,
And
Interesting.
it's fairly new. People don't realize it, and they don't push it as high as they should. But for getting traction, I think I put my LinkedIn and contact stuff in the. I just did it again. Reach out because whether we do the video or not, it's something that authors frequently don't do on their Amazon pages. So I'm looking forward to reading the book, and we should talk.
well, John, I'll just say, I listened to you and I thought, my gosh, we have so many connections. So you were on my target list. And Michael, I did remember to download the chat this time. So
Yeah, that's what I was about to remind everybody. So if you go to the chat now, open it up and click on the 3 buttons and hit save chat. That's the first option. You'll get everybody's LinkedIn that put it in there or whatever else they put in there, including Krista's invite to her spooky speech or spooky
and
something.
do it right now, because as soon as Michael closes the session, you're done.
I've had to ask for it embarrassingly number of times.
Yeah, maybe what I should do is create a link for that. But please do it now, and thank you, everybody. I will see you from New Jersey next time on Tuesday when Ron Hubsher is going to present. And thank you for joining.
Yeah, and there's a link to our roundtable tomorrow in Captify and my information. Please join us tomorrow. We'd love to give you a demo of the experience. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks. Take care, everyone.
Hey, Jeff, see ya. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, Krista.